I want it to be.
Yeah, it is.
Following a bitter war for the freedom from tyranny, the American revolutionaries sought to ensure that America become a place of liberty in which all possess certain inalienable rights. When the writers of the Constitution left out a Bill of Rights, ensuring the colonists had hard-earned freedoms, many refused to ratify the document until after it had been amended with the Bill of Rights. The First Amendment, perhaps the most famous and influential assertion of liberty in human history, declared that every American possessed the untouchable freedom of speech, press, religion, and petition. Go.
While this brave stand for freedom from governmental oppression initially seemed a trumpet of civil liberty, it was tested as early as 1798 when President John Adams attempted to implement the Alien and Sedition Act. Ridiculed and openly criticized, Adams' Federalist government was constantly under intense political scrutiny, which they publicly claimed was a threat to America's political progress. Feeling this harsh pressure, Adams and his staff passed Alien and Sedition Acts as a way to ensure the press did not publish anything criticizing the federal government. Unfortunately for Adams, Thomas Jefferson and James Madison publicly assailed these laws as horrible violations of civil liberties, leading them to be nullified in 1800.
Bullseye.
The support of H.R. 83 that has focused on protecting our children from bullying. I have founded and co-chaired the Congressional Children's Caucus with my colleague from Illinois, a bipartisan caucus that wants to remember the children. H.R. 83, I'd encourage my colleagues sign on to H.R. 83 so that we can have a national statement against bullying.
I-4.
Miss. In the 200 years since the crisis of the Alien and Sedition Acts, the First Amendment and stance of free expression has been a hotly contested issue. Today in the United States, increasingly connected world, the issue of balancing free expression with the desire for personal well-being and national safety has led to some reconsider the role of the First Amendment. With the internet, the United States has been the rise of horrific bullying of students via websites like MySpace and Facebook, as well as the rise of hateful writing and speeches that include violence against individuals and the government. In this era of modern communication, addressing such hate speech while still respecting the basic liberties of the First Amendment has proved to be a difficult task. E5.
You sunk my battleship. As the Congresswoman noted, for years school administrators have tried to find a balance between suspending freedoms of speech but also ensuring the safety of their students. These policies have been effective in that students are protected from hateful speech because of these institutional deterrents, but many argue that these also serve to give administrators an ability to repress students from publishing ideas that are against the views of school teachers and administrators. For instance, a child can now be subject to punishment because of an article in which he criticized an administrator, even if this is on the merit of school policy. Leading psychologists argue that youth and early adulthood are the prime ages for personal curiosity and creativity to flourish, claiming that these policies of administrative review curb intellectual curiosity and discourage academic freedom for those who need it most. At this young age, we need to make an effort to make sure that we let our students.
Some may scoff at these ideas to curb the First Amendment to promote freedom from bullying, but few can ignore these issues when citizens across the country are listening to violent speech calling for destruction of the U.S. or racist threats against other races. Unfortunately, in this decade, America has seen both sides of this issue. Since the September 11th attacks brought terrorism to the forefront in 2001, the United States has wrestled a fine line against stopping such harsh activity by refusing to allow clerics and websites with messages including citizens against the government.
While the Congressman has an influential argument that some personal liberties must be curbed in order to promote personal safety, we as citizens cannot allow these threats to bring us down the slippery slope into an overly restrictive policy. Law enforcement must attempt to curb major threats but not become so preventative that we disallow the freedoms that America was built upon. In the coming years, the U.S. will need to be cognizant of supporting the First Amendment's intent while ensuring that new age media does not support harsh bullying in schools and incite violence against our nation.
America's all in for freedom of speech.